MS Now has just learned that FBI Director Kash Patel may be out of a job in the coming months. 3 people with knowledge of the situation say President Trump and his top aides have grown tired of Patel and the unflattering headlines he's been generating recently, including using a government jet to visit his girlfriend and enlisting a SWAT team as her security detail.
But we are being told that Kash Patel, the FBI director, is on increasingly thin ice. And the president is considering replacing him by the end of the year with Andrew Bailey, the former attorney general of Missouri, who is acting now as co-deputy FBI director, along with Dan Bongino.
Kash Patel? No, he's doing a great job, I think.
It's time for Media Meltdowns, and it's been just a little over 2 months since Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And all the leftist media wants to talk about are the views that Charlie held that they don't agree with. So even though Charlie was murdered by an alleged leftist lunatic, the big story for the media is how bad Charlie's rhetoric was for his conservative and Christian values. Here's Katie Couric trying her hardest to get Democrat John Fetterman to condemn Charlie on her podcast Next Question.
Did you have any issues now in hindsight over some of the things that Charlie Kirk said and some of the rhetoric he used during his life?
I didn't agree with much of it. I didn't closely follow his specific kinds of views, but I did.
I'm sure you learned about them after his death.
Keeps going.
No, I haven't done a deep dive on it. You know, we've all seen that terrible video. Perhaps if you've seen the actual video, I have. And it's like appalling. And that's part of the political violence.
But Katie Couric doesn't stop there. She keeps pushing, suggesting that Charlie Kirk didn't deserve the outpouring of love and respect from leaders.
Do you think that flags should have been flown at half-staff? Do you think his body should have been flown on Air Force Two? Do you think he should have posthumously be given the Presidential Medal of Freedom? I think some people felt that that was perhaps over the top in terms of mourning someone like Charlie Kirk. How did you feel about that?
I'd say that was his choice and his prerogative, and that was really entirely up to him.
Look, as we keep seeing, there are leftist freaks that are still celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder. And for Katie Couric, all she's concerned about is Charlie's rhetoric, not the psycho leftists encouraging his murder.
I think some people might say Charlie Kirk's rhetoric was extreme. You know, I think that's the conversation that happened. People condemned political violence, but they also felt a great deal of discomfort with his language, suggesting that these kinds of words lead to violence. I don't know. I'm just kind of sharing my observations as I saw the conversations unfold.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think we agree that we probably didn't agree with much of what he said, and I think I'm sure we both agree that you shouldn't shoot people, and you shouldn't execute them in public.
Starting with one of the most privileged women on the planet, former First Lady Michelle Obama, who's now suggesting that black women can't swim because white people generally have straight hair.
Let me explain something to white people. Our hair comes out of our head naturally in a curly pattern. So when we're straightening it to follow your beauty standards, we are trapped by the straightness. That's why so many of us can't swim and we run away from the water. People won't go to the gym because we're trying to keep our hair straight for y'all. It is exhausting and it's so expensive and it takes up so much time. Braids are for y'all so we can work harder and focus on the work. So why do we need an act, an act of law to tell white folks to get out of our hair?
She's still going.
Don't tell me how to wear my hair. Don't wonder about it. Don't touch it.
We don't worry. We do not wonder about it.
Just don't.
Yeah, we should all feel very bad for Michelle Obama. She's also opened up about her life, making sure that everyone knows having a hair and makeup team, that's not a luxury.
Yeah. Well, I didn't really have that choice as First Lady. Of course, right? Yeah. Every day, every time I was up, as we called it, I was up for the public. Yes. And the days were long. So, as you mentioned, to save time. Yes. I know having a glam team, a trifecta, it feels like a luxury, but it was a time necessity. Yes. There's absolutely no way that I would be able to do my hair and makeup and have clothes ready that fit, because rare is the woman that can live off the rack. Yes.
Finally, for some inspiration to all the women out there, don't bother about thinking for running for president one day because America rejected Kamala Harris.
Well, as we saw in this past election, sadly, we ain't ready. That's why I'm like, don't even look at me about running because you all are lying. You're not ready for a woman. You are not.
She is?
So don't waste my time. We got a lot of growing up to do. And there's still, sadly, a lot of men who do not feel like they can be led by a woman, and we saw it. What was the question? I just said,
It's time for media meltdowns, and the Democrats and the leftist media have been desperate in their attempts to attack Donald Trump over the Epstein files. Here's MSNBC's Jen Psaki.
In supporting what Donald Trump is doing.
You're talking about the other predators out there, in addition to Trump. I mean, I'm not saying he is. We don't know all the details about that. I just mean in addition to what we've learned about Epstein and others, there's other predators out there.
There are.
You can see the moment she realises there could be a lawsuit coming. Now, the attempts to attack Donald Trump over this is backfiring. As I've said many times before, these files should have been released a long time ago. It should go without saying that pedophiles should never be protected. There needs to be greater transparency, and most importantly, there needs to be justice for the alleged victims. So finally, the House of Representatives passed a bill to compel the Justice Department to release a trove of files related to Jeffrey Epstein. Now, even the BBC is calling out Democrats for their BS, asking the obvious question, why these files were not released under Joe Biden.
Why wasn't there more clamor in the Biden administration to make sure that these files were released?
Well, I can't speak to that. What I will say is Donald Trump ran on the release of the Epstein files.
But Congressman, I just want to jump in there because Jeffrey Epstein died in a jail cell in 2019. Yes, Ghislaine Maxwell, who you referred to, was prosecuted, convicted in 2021. But President Biden was in office, Democrats were in office, and could have pushed for this very argument to make sure that survivors were honored.
Sure.
Sure. The Democrats' narrative has been burst, and it's been revealed that Epstein was texting Democrats on how to hurt Donald Trump. Here is the exchange between convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein and Democrat Stacey Plaskett during a 2019 congressional hearing with Michael Cohen. Now, the messages were reviewed by the Washington Post.
You, as my friend Mr. Meadows pointed out, misled this committee even today in a written submission that contradicted your testimony. You have suggested you are going to review that. Are you going to review it in our next break to correct the record, yes or no?
Yes.
Question, you helped out the president's campaign or were involved in the campaign as a representative, as a spokesman, even in your words today. It was your idea for the campaign dating back to 2011. Is that accurate, yes or no?
Yes.
Mr. Weisenberg and other individuals, Ms. Rona. Who are those individuals? Are they with the Trump organization?
They are.
Are there other people that we should be meeting with?
So, Alan Weisselberg is the chief financial officer.
You got to quickly give us as many names as you can so we can get to them.
Yes, ma'am.
As Ms. Rona, what is Ms. Rona's position?
Rona Graff is Mr. Trump's executive assistant.
And would she be able to corroborate many of the statements that you've made here?
Yes, her office is directly next to his, and she's involved in a lot that went on.
So you can see that text message exchange. Jeffrey Epstein even says, good work. Here is Stacey Plaskett defending her communication with the sex offender on CNN.
I believe that Jeffrey Epstein had information, and I was going to get information to get at the truth. Having a real friendship with him is not something that I would deem to have. And so I'm just looking forward. I'm moving forward. And I think that that's what we as American people should do, is move forward. If individuals are not involved in illegal activity, extending his criminal enterprise or his financial enterprise or all of those things, I think that we need to look at what people are doing moving forward.
Wait, let me just better understand that. What is that point? Because at the time he was a known sex offender and it had been detailed all the sexual abuse.
There are a lot of people who have done a lot of crimes, and as a prosecutor, you get information from people where you can.
You know the Democrats are in trouble when they've lost CNN and BBC. Hakeem Jeffries was asked if he's spoken to Stacey Plaskett about the Epstein text controversy, and he struggles to give a clear answer.
Have you spoken to Stacey Plaskett after this controversy emerged?
I have not.
Can you confirm if there was a deal last night to sink the resolution against Congressman Plaskett in exchange for not bringing us into resolution?
We've made clear repeatedly we're not going to unilaterally disarm.
So you're saying there was no deal?
I'm saying we will not unilaterally disarm. Not now, not ever.
Mr. Leader, why wouldn't you speak to Stacey Plaskett?
I said I haven't spoken to her since the censure resolution went down.
No, about this text controversy.
I have not spoken to her since the censure resolution went down.
Have you talked to her about this text controversy?
She and I have talked, and it's a private conversation that will remain private.